She is once again going to crush out human liberty. Prophets and Kings, page 512, says, especially will the wrath of man be aroused against those who hallow the Sabbath of the fourth commandment, and at last a universal decree will denounce these as deserving of death. There's a death decree. Well, we know that already because Daniel chapter 3 tells us that through the story of the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were faithful to worship God only, and there was a death penalty against them. There was a death penalty against Daniel in Daniel chapter 6 in the lion's den because he would only worship God. He wouldn't worship false gods. That should be a lesson to us. But right here in Revelation 13 it says that verse 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 15 says that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. There's going to be a death penalty there in verse 15 for those who don't go along with the new global religion that we read about in verse 8. The Bible tells us what's going to happen, brothers and sisters. We should not be surprised when it comes about, but it is not to be feared. We are going to have the finest hour that God has ever placed upon His people. Now let's come back to papal ambitions. In 2009, the Catholic Church with the German Lutheran Church and trade unions joined together, as I mentioned, against the city of Berlin. And they succeeded in defending Sunday rest before the High Court of Germany. Then the bishops are at it again in 2010. Now we're in 2010, aren't we? There's a huge battle going on for the soul of Europe, and Sunday observance is the leverage that churches and trade unions are using to gain the victory. According to the website of the Commission of the Bishops' Conferences of the European Community, or COMES, in every nation there is a bishops' conference. Not only in the United States. We have the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops in Washington, D.C. They always locate it right near the centers of power so the bishops can be easily involved with those who are making legislative decisions and other types of decisions in the nations. But it's also in Europe. They have bishops' conferences in every nation, and they have a supra-conference over all of them. So that's COMES, or the Commission of the Bishops' Conferences. They wrote on their website, the European Commission will soon be presenting a new draft of the Working Time Directive. Remember, I mentioned that one before. It's a new law, that old law that regulates how much you can work and how much time you have to have off. They will soon be presenting a new draft of the Working Time Directive, and that the bishops are planning to launch a new debate on the protection of Sunday rest. Well, not only did they say that, they went into action. They're working on that now. But the bishops hope that they'll be able to succeed this time in getting this phrase requiring Sunday rest into the law. In its initial 1993 version of the Working Time Directive, it said this, but the High Court of Germany actually struck it down. They said, you have not proven that there is a connection between Sunday rest and workers' health. Health. Notice that. They're trying to say, and the basis upon which they argued this back then was that when there is a common day of rest for everybody, there is better health among the workers. And they said, you haven't documented that. So they struck down that phrase. Now they're trying to get it back. This time, they are coming back with new studies, supposedly, that show that there is better health when workers have a day off. They found a couple of members of the European Parliament to cooperate with them and sponsor a conference to promote Sunday rest. This conference was held on March 24, which is only a couple of months ago. And included in this conference were most European trade unions, if not all of them, civil society organizations, and churches. They all came together at this conference. I'm not going to give you the list, it's rather lengthy, but you can go to their website yourself and see it for yourself. The Commies website went on to say that, meanwhile, recent studies have demonstrated the existence of a strong link between workers' health and a work-free Sunday. The common weekly rest day for the whole of society allows families to spend time with each other and all citizens to engage in cultural, spiritual, and social activities. Sunday, moreover, strengthens the social cohesion of our societies. Notice that, social cohesion. What do they mean by social cohesion? That means the glue that holds society together. They say Sunday does that. Well, why not Sabbath? I mean, really, if everybody had a Sabbath off, wouldn't that strengthen social cohesion too? The point is that the bishops want to enforce Sunday rest for generally accepted secular reasons. But the ultimate goal, of course, is thinly veiled. They are actually aiming for, and will eventually get, religious legislation. There was an appeal that was made to the members of the European Parliament. It was published. The text is available. I'm going to read you a part of this text. It says, "The protection of a work-free Sunday is of paramount importance for workers' health, for the reconciliation of work and family life, as well as for the life of society as a whole." Again, you see the secular reasons: health, family, civil society, all of these reasons. Keep in mind, these reasons will be used here in the United States one day as well. I'll read on. "This common weekly day of rest serves to strengthen social cohesion, a cohesion severely undermined by the current economic crisis." So in other words, because of the economic crisis, we need Sunday rest so that we can come together in social cohesion. Because the economy thing is breaking us apart, you see. So this is one way of bringing it back together. They're using every argument they can to support their agenda for Sunday rest. Notice that it's argued that this social cohesion, would be in opposition to the law of God. Did you notice that? All right. And eventually it would create such a social cohesion that all of society will actually persecute those who don't go along with Sunday worship. Notice that it's argued that the economic crisis also increases the need for Sunday rest. Well, there were some amazing footnotes in this public statement that was released appealing to the members of the European Parliament for a work-free Sunday, a rest Sunday. These footnotes, one of them said, "Scientific studies demonstrate that a work-free Sunday is more important for workers' health and well-being than any other day of the week." Did you hear that? Any other day of the week. It's more important than any other day of the week. And I say, well, what about Sunday? Or what about Sabbath? What they're saying, my friends, and by the way, they claim falsely, because I read the actual report of the study, which actually said a work-free Saturday or a work-free Sunday improves workers' health. They did, but they're saying Sunday is even more important than Saturday, okay? So what they say, they're falsely claiming, of course, that there are more benefits to Sunday being work-free than Sabbath being work-free. In other words, they're trying to suggest that the day that God set aside for rest is not as good as the day that man set aside for rest. You get that? You hear that? Okay. What arrogance! They are accusing God of not doing it good enough, of not setting up the best day for rest. They think they know better than God. You see the problem? Sunday work places enormous pressure on workers and families, they said. It encourages